Hello, Erica here, and I'm here today with another installment of my literary movement series. I will link previous installments down below so you can go check them out if you want to. And today we are going to talk about realism. Realism is a literary movement that began in the mid to late 19th century and lasted into early in the 20th century. It began in France and it acts sort of as a reaction to Romanticism. Whereas Romanticism was founded in a lot of subjection, realism is ultimately founded on objective reality. Also, as Romanticism, we kind of saw more Romanticism in play in poetry as a form. Realism was based almost exclusively in the novel form, and there was a really big focus on literary technique with the realism movement. As far as literary technique goes, the kind of characteristics that works of realism kind of exemplify is the simplification of style and language, whereas the Romantics used a lot of very flowery and very beautiful metaphorical language and imagery. Realist works focus more on literally what is happening, and they aim to portray real life through literature. Hence the name realism. But realism didn't look to just portray any sort of life in literature. There's a really big focus on poverty and on the middle to lower classes. And there was this idea of portraying everyday life, kind of the mundane, especially through characters from those economic backgrounds. So realism was really focused on the immediate, the very present. The plot of a novel that's based in realism really focuses on specific actions and their very specific consequences. So in a lot of works that are considered realism, you will find a lot of foreshadowing of the consequences of a character's action. And the characters, too, are known to be very well developed, well-rounded, and really dynamic. Every character in a work of realism serves a specific purpose to the plot. You won't find characters just kind of lingering in the background. They all work together to kind of drive the action of the plot forward through, of course, their own individual actions and the consequences of those actions and interactions between characters. And even though the plot of a work of realism was kind of based on this idea of specific actions and specific consequences, the plots are generally considered very slow-moving. There's not, like, a ton of action because, again, they were portraying everyday life. So, like I said, there's kind of this mundanity to it all. And you're just following a day-to-day. Like, plots were very sequential, but also pretty slow-moving because they were so focused on reality and the realities of everyday life. There's also an emphasis on details within the plot. So the emphasis on details kind of created this structure where little tiny plot points build upon each other. And there's never really a huge climax in the plot or this huge climatic event. It's just kind of, as it portrays the day-to-day, it shows you how the characters and the characters' actions kind of build upon each other. Realism is a movement that kind of affected all of the Western world at the same time, and unlike Romanticism, it didn't really develop that much differently across continents or countries. And there are a lot of very familiar authors who practice realism, such as Gustave Flaubert, William Dean Howells, Leo Tolstoy, Frank Norris, George Eliot, Mark Twain, Alexander Dumas, Anton Chekhov, Henry James, Sarah Orne Jewett, and Guy de Maupassant. Maupassant? I don't know how to say that. I'm going to pretend that I know how to say that, though. So that is all I really have today as far as realism goes. In my next installment, we'll be talking about naturalism, which kind of goes hand in hand with realism, but I wanted to break them apart because they are a little bit different. And again, if you have any questions or anything to add to what I have said here, please let me know in the comments, and I will talk to you all soon. Bye!